So in a word, Sonic 3 is absolutely incredible, and if you were a little bit worried like I was, that after the Knuckles series, maybe this franchise is going to be catering a little bit too much towards a younger audience, then I am really pleased to tell you that Sonic 3 is so good. Not only is it incredibly faithful to its source material from a video game perspective, but also, I feel like it caters for an all ages audience, and if anything, skews a little bit dull, as they have just done Shadow the Hedgehog so well. His storyline is so faithful to everything that you have come to know and love from the Sonic Adventure 2 game, as well as the dedicated Shadow the Hedgehog game. And if you've watched all of the trailers so far, then a number of the awesome sequences have been revealed, so they're not as impactful when you see them on screen. But that being said, you never see the aftermath, and so to see how certain sequences are going to be continued is pretty wicked to watch. And there are a number of scenes also between Shadow and Sonic one-on-one, and those are just so epic. And they've massively reduced the amount of screen time that the human characters get so that they can focus it on all of the characters that you really do want to see, which is namely Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and of course Shadow the Hedgehog. So I feel like they've learned so much from the blueprint of how Super Mario was so successful. And even though this movie has a relatively modest runtime, they're able to pack in loads of material in here. So for example, we've got all of Shadow's backstory, we've got Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik, we've got Team Sonic, we've got the gun organization being really, really questionable, and like I said, even though their screen time has been reduced, all of the human characters are there as well. And I just love all of the battle sequences. They have said a lot in the press that they have incorporated guns and motorbikes and everything that makes quintessential Shadow the Hedgehog a really edgy, cool character in here. Even though Shadow could have done a little bit more with it, all of the gun members definitely do use guns in this film, and they've made them laser guns to kind of make it kid-friendly. And if you've played Sonic Adventure 2 and are aware of the Space Colony arc storyline in the final act of this movie, then my goodness, do they do that to its fullest in the final act of this movie. It's literally mind-blowing how faithful all of those sequences are. I was literally blown away. And if you're into fan service and Easter eggs, the final act of this movie is just such a brilliant spectacle to watch. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but they are just so wicked when you see everything as is literally just one after the other after the other. And Jim Carrey is so good as Ivor Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik, and the relationship between these two characters is not only really interestingly explored, and even though Jim Carrey is playing both of them, they are so individual and they are both traumatized in their own individual way. And just the interactions between these two heavyweight characters, played brilliantly by Jim Carrey, is just done so well. I think it was an absolute triumph that they were able to bring back Jim Carrey for this movie, as of course at the end of the second film he was like, look, I'm pretty much done with acting. So not only do they use him to the fullest in this film, they gave him a lot of really interesting things to do. And the Sonic franchise, one of the reasons that I prefer it over Super Mario is that the storyline material is not afraid of becoming a little bit dark at points, is really, really fascinating with what all of the characters are capable of doing, and you really do get to see that in this movie, as there are a number of emotional moments, so many heartbreaking, heart-wrenching moments, as they're not afraid of killing off certain characters, and there are so many if you know you know moments, as like I said, so much fan service, so many Easter eggs, and the character growth and the character development for all of them pretty much is pretty extraordinary, all of the journeys that they go on, especially Sonic and Shadow. So I really enjoyed Sonic 3, I think it's such a brilliant movie. I think they pack in so much into this runtime, and you just know that this franchise is just getting started, as there are so many future possibilities that they could continue it. For example, a Sonic 4 movie, a Knuckles Season 2, maybe a Shadow spin-off. I feel like the performance of this film will determine whether or not it's a series or another film itself. And there are 2 post-credit scenes, 1 mid-credit scene and 1 post-credit scene, so definitely stick around to see what's going to happen, and I cannot wait to expand upon all of that in the spoiler review. But as far as Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie is concerned, this superfan absolutely loved it, and by the way, I have played every single Sonic and Shadow game, so I just had the best time with this movie. I was a little bit nervous going into it, as I had very high expectations, and they were able to supersede it, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a mega 9 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Sonic the Movie 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.